Hey everyone, today we're diving into something really powerful. What if you could build your very own digital assistants, but without having to write a single line of code? We're going to break down exactly how you can use low-code tools to create and customize automations for pretty much any task you can think of. So, you know that feeling, right? When you're just stuck in that endless loop of doing the same repetitive thing over and over and over again. You're copying data, you're updating spreadsheets, sending out the same emails. Ugh, it is so draining. But what if you could just build a little digital teammate to handle all of that for you? Well, it turns out you can. Meet the low-code agent. And look, this isn't about becoming a hardcore programmer. This is about a huge shift in thinking, from just being a user of software to becoming a creator of your own solutions. Using these really intuitive visual tools, you can build a smart assistant that does all the grunt work, freeing you up to focus on the stuff that actually matters. Okay, so how do we actually build one? Where do we start? Well, every single automation, it doesn't matter if it's super simple or incredibly complex, it all starts with a single spark. And that brings us to our first key ingredient, the trigger. A trigger is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's that one specific event that kicks off your entire workflow. You can think of it as the starting pistol, the go signal, and getting this part right is absolutely critical because it's what makes sure your automation runs at the perfect moment every single time. Now, triggers usually come in three main flavors. You've got your scheduled trigger, which is basically like setting an alarm clock for your workflow. Run this report every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Then there's the webhook, which is kind of like a doorbell. Another app rings the bell to tell your agent, hey, it's time to get to work. And finally, you have the manual trigger, which is the simplest of all. You just click a button and it runs whenever you want it to. To make all this stuff really stick, let's just follow one example all the way through. So imagine we run an online store. For us, the trigger is super simple. A new order comes in. That's it. That's the event that sets everything else into motion. Okay, so our workflow has been triggered. That new order just landed. Now what? Well, the agent needs to actually do something. And this brings us to the next set of building blocks, actions and decisions. Actions are just the specific individual tasks your agent is going to perform. This could be something like retrieving data, grabbing customer details from a database. It could be processing that data, maybe calculating sales tax or something. Or it could be about delivering an output, like sending an email or saving a file. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because this highlights the huge leap from just a basic automation to an intelligent one. A simple agent is just linear. A trigger happens, and then an action follows. But a smart agent has a brain. It can actually make a decision before it acts. And that crucial little step in the middle, that's what we call logic. And logic is seriously the agent's brain. It's what lets your workflow be dynamic, to adapt to different situations. So instead of just doing the exact same thing every single time, it can use conditions and filters to look at the information it gets and then choose the right path forward. So let's plug this back into our online store example. The agent gets the new order trigger. The very first thing its logic brain does is ask a simple question based on the order details. Is the total amount for this order more than $100? If the answer is yes, the agent follows path number one. It knows this is a high-value order, and based on the rules we set, it can just be approved automatically. Boom. No human has to touch it. That's just pure streamlined efficiency. But what if the answer is no? What if it's a smaller order? Well, in that case, the agent follows path number two, and it flags the order for a quick manual review by someone on the team. And this is a perfect illustration of how logic lets the agent handle different situations intelligently, kind of like a real person would. So our agent is pretty smart, but it can't just work in a vacuum. To be really useful, it needs to talk to all the other apps and tools we use every day. And that's where our next piece of the puzzle comes in, integrations. An integration is basically just a bridge. It's a secure, pre-built connection that lets your agent talk to other services, to send them information, or to pull data from them. Just think of it as giving your agent the ability to use Slack or Google Drive or your company's sales software. And these integrations usually fall into a few key buckets. Your agent can connect to storage systems, right, to read or save files. It can use messaging apps like Slack or Microsoft Teams to send out real-time updates. And here's the most powerful part. It can connect to almost any modern web service out there through something called an API. All right, we've covered the core concepts. We've got triggers to start everything, logic to make decisions, actions to get stuff done, and integrations to connect to the world. So now, let's put it all together and actually see our complete end-to-end workflow in action. Okay, let's watch our agent do its thing. It all starts with the trigger. A customer hits buy on our website. Instantly, the workflow wakes up and gets right to work, grabbing all of that order information in a split second. Next up, the agent's logic brain kicks into gear. It doesn't just mindlessly pass the data along, it actually analyzes it. It immediately looks at the order total to make its first decision, asking that key question, is the value over $100? So for this run-through, let's say the answer was yes, it's a big order. The agent now moves on to the action step, doing exactly what it was built to do. It marks the order as approved in our system and then crafts a quick, simple notification message for the team. And finally, the integration step delivers the results. Using those pre-built connections, the agent zaps that notification directly into our team's Slack channel. And at the very same time, it saves a PDF of the order into a shared folder. The entire process, from a customer clicking buy to our team being notified, is done in seconds. Just flawless. So after seeing all that, what's the big takeaway here? Well, the most important point is that this kind of power isn't just for software developers anymore. This is about making problem-solving available to everyone. This visual drag-and-drop way of building makes complex logic accessible to anybody, letting you build the exact tools you actually need. And you should always remember the power of those connections. Things like webhooks and APIs are the gateways that let your custom-built agent interact with this almost infinite universe of online tools. Basically, it means if an app exists, you can probably build an automation for it. So now that you get these basic building blocks, triggers, logic, actions, and integrations, the only question left is the fun one. What are you going to build first? A smart agent to help sort through customer support tickets, a tool to automate your research. The power is officially in your hands now.